Hello everyone. My name is Dalia Castro and I'm a presenter for the A-STEP program. Today I will be giving you a brief overview of the module on motivating students. Very interesting and fun topic, so I hope you find it interesting and I hope you can use some of those strategies when you start teaching. First of all, what do we mean by motivating students? As you go through the PowerPoint that I provided for you, I try to gather as much information as I could to give you as many hints or strategies in different areas. But I'm sure you'll agree, and I agree with the research, that student motivation is an essential element that is necessary for quality education. If the students are not motivated and they don't want to be there, more than likely they're not learning. So it is up to us, to educators, to find the best way to motivate them. So we know that motivation is probably the most important factor that us as educators can target in order to improve learning. Believe me, that is such a true statement. So how do we know when students are motivated in your classroom? Well, mainly we can tell if they begin working on their task immediately, if they ask questions, if they volunteer answers, and if they appear to be happy and eager to be in your class. That's when students are motivated. So throughout the lesson, throughout the PowerPoint, you'll see how did motivation come up. The definition of motivation is basically a learned skill. A learned skill is that students perhaps are not born being motivated, it's a learned skill. And even the most intelligent students can be outperformed by less bright students with higher motivation. If a student is motivated enough, he or she can accomplish any learning in any scale. So some of one of the articles that I refer to gives us some key ingredients, like what are the key ingredients to motivate students? Well, first of all, the student himself or herself. We must give them opportunities for access. They must have, to access an education, first of all. They must have the ability and the interest. There has to be a way that we have to convey to them that they must, they should value education. Another key ingredient is the teacher. We must have our best and well-trained teachers out there in the classroom. We must focus and monitor on the educational process. Our teachers should be dedicated and responsive to the needs of our students. And one key factor is we must be inspirational. As teachers, we're that one person that the child spends so much time with in school, so we need to inspire them. Another key ingredient is the content, what we're teaching to the students. Of course, we have to provide them with the most accurate and up-to-date content. It should be timely, it must be stimulating for them, and it must be pertinent to their lives. The fourth ingredient is the method or the process by which we teach them. Our methodology should be inventive, encouraging. We have to provide them with the tools that they need to learn. And finally, the environment, which is our classrooms, our schools, where they come to. Our environment should be accessible, safe, positive, personalized as much as possible, and empowering for the students. So those are the 5 key ingredients that were identified in some of the research. Also, they talked about the 2 different types of motivation, the intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, and you will learn, you will study some of that through your pre-work. So where does motivation come from? How did it evolve? There are several theories out there, and I mentioned them for you in the PowerPoint. There were several scientists or analysts out there that have provided different theories for motivation. One of them is Sigmund Freud, where he's saying, you know, that his is the psychoanalytical theory. And he's basically what he's saying, we should make our classroom environment as inviting and comfortable for the students. Basic stuff. There's also the theory from Lev Vygotsky. That is the social development theory, which talks about, you know, the activities that we present to the students should neither be too easy nor too hard. Social interaction is very important for our students. There's also the theory of hierarchy of human needs from Abraham Maslow. And what he's saying is if their basic needs for students are not met, then it's very difficult for our students to learn. So first we must meet their basic needs, which is another topic that we cover in one of the other modules, which is the addressing student needs. Also, we have the theory, the psychosocial theory of human development from Erik Erikson, which he's stating basically that you communicate, that you respect and value all cultures and emphasize the contributions that cultural differences make in the learning. In other words, involving all of our students regardless of their cultural background. And then we have also a theory, the affective filter theory from Stephen Krashen. And basically what he stated was that if we reduce the anxiety in students, then that increases their motivation. And you're gonna notice that. You're gonna notice that anxiety in students, especially in the first day of school, the first days, because they don't know what to expect. So it is up to us to reduce that level of anxiety. And some of the suggestions that he provided was, you know, to provide different modalities. For example, provide both oral and written instructions when possible. Provide activities that are interesting and intriguing so that we can reduce the level of anxiety. Provide materials that relate to the students' real lives. And allow for jokes and relaxed conversations at certain times. Refrain from orally correcting students, and don't always expect perfection from students. So I also provided you, as part of that PowerPoint, some other tips for motivating different populations, different groups. For example, motivating the young learners, the young ones in elementary school. You know, be encouraging, play games, be ready to get your hands dirty, and be ready to be moving at all times. There's also strategies for motivating older students, such as teenagers. Now in this day and age, you know, we have to reference pop culture, have competitions, use technology. Technology is part of their lives. The new generation. Then you might also encounter, you might be teaching adults. So how do we motivate adults? Well, usually we find that adults are motivated to learn as a form of their survival, to enhance their jobs, to obtain an education, and also many times for social interaction. So when they come to our classes, if we don't provide that, then most of the time they just don't keep coming, don't come to class anymore. You might encounter some large classes and in your teaching, so you say, well, how do I motivate large classes? To keep them motivated, first we have to keep ourselves motivated. Get to know your students by names. Do your teaching by breaking the large groups into smaller groups, and get them moving. Routines are very important at that point, at that level. And it's also necessary to provide them with the energy, the teaching energy in you. Okay. Another good strategy also is to incorporate projects in your classes. Not all assignments have to be written assignments. Not all tests have to be, 40-question tests. You can incorporate projects. And you might say, well, why? How? Projects, many times, allow the students' creativity to come out. They have a voice in their learning. They can make real life connections through projects to the real world. They allow the students the freedom to complete their tasks, and they also allow for students to work cooperatively. Some projects can be done in groups, so if you have the right rubric to grade them, I mean, that can also be a test and a way to motivate students. So now, the next section in your PowerPoint addresses different ways to motivate students also. One of them is to praise the students. Praise them whenever they do well. Compliment them, and that's a way of motivating our students. You want to let them know that you expect excellence. We have high expectations, and assist them to get there. Guide them. They have to see us being excited. We have to show our excitement for the learning, for the topic. And that has to spread to them. If we're not excited about what we're teaching, then it's very difficult for them to get excited about it. They also recommend, one of the strategies also is to mix up your assignments, your tests, your form of delivering instruction. It doesn't always have to be whole group instruction, delivering, kind of like what I'm doing now, but it's because I'm on video. Okay, so mix it up. Another strategy is to assign classroom jobs, depending on the level of the students. And there are some suggestions there for you. Students often want to be included in the class, so be ready to assign them classroom jobs, make them responsible, give them the responsibility. Hand over some of the control to them. Let them decide sometimes how they want to learn, what they want to learn. They also talk about open format Fridays. If everything has been accomplished throughout the week, well then perhaps on Fridays we can give our students a choice of what to learn, how they want to learn it, of course, as long as it's related to your class. Don't be afraid to relate lessons to students' everyday lives. What's going on out there, the news, what's happening in the news, what's happening in the weather, what's going on in government, what's going on in politics. That's also a way to motivate our students. Also, track their improvement and celebrate with them when they're mastering and they're improving throughout the course. Reward positive behavior outside the classroom. They do service outside the classroom. Give them credit for it. Give them credit for what they do. So basically, and this, I like this statement, and I placed it in your PowerPoint because I think it's so true. The educational equivalent, you know how we always talk about when we're talking about properties and real estate, and we say, well, location, location, location. In education, this translates to motivation, motivation, motivation. For motivation is probably the most important factor that educators can target in order to improve learning. And I believe that is such a true, very true statement. Let me go over some of the tasks that I've assigned in the module, and I hope they be productive and useful for you. In your pre-work, there are several assignments. Assignment number 1 consists of a video that provides 39 effective classroom strategies. And they also suggest, if you want to download, you go to their website and you download the actual article, and I did that, and it's very, very helpful so that you can keep for your files. Assignment number 2 was also referring to 12 effective strategies for motivating students. She gave us some very good ideas. So also very, very, very helpful. Please go through that video and answer the questions that are provided for you. Assignment number 3. This was the video. Oh yes, this was my favorite. This is for elementary teachers, but all of you secondary also, it's worth watching. It's a first grade teacher teaching a lesson on adding doubles. But before they do that, they start, they go over their class rules, and very, very, very interesting, very energetic lesson, and just very cute. So that was assignment number 3. And please answer the questions that I provided for you. In assignment number 4, there are 2 videos that you will be watching, and this is a middle school student, and a middle school class and a high school class. I believe the middle school was science or chemistry, and then the high school was social studies, probably a world history class. And please look out for different motivational strategies that the teachers are using. Some of them that we believe, oh no, middle school kids won't do that, or high school kids won't do that, but you're gonna see some very interesting strategies there. Assignment number 5 consists of reading an article, and that is provided for you in the Padlet. And this is How to Motivate Students, Top 12 Ways. So very interesting article. And assignment number 6 is also, it's the another article for the 5 key ingredients for improving student motivation. And I referred to that a little bit in the PowerPoint. This is a very, very lengthy article, but very, very interesting. Please pay close attention to the first part, which is the introduction and the abstract, and then also at the end they provide us with a chart for the different 5 areas and different strategies. So please read through it. It's a very, very good article. Okay. Another document that is also in your Padlet is the PPR questions. These are the suggestions, and these are also reviewed throughout some of the sessions that we have. So I'm hoping that this module is helpful for you, to give you ideas as to how to motivate students. And another suggestion that I want to make also is, I noticed whenever I was linking to some of the videos available for the motivation of students, then there's a whole list of other videos listed on the right side. Now, I mean, with YouTube, it's a wealth of information. And some of those videos were also very, very helpful. So I strongly encourage you to research and see more sample lessons to help you sort of incorporate and kind of plan, okay, so what's going to be my style of motivating students. So I wish you the best of luck, and I am also a presenter for several of the other sessions. Please give me your feedback, what you think of the information that I provided for you in this module, and if there's any way we can improve, please let us know. Thank you, and good luck to you.